It's called Burn the Witch. Everybody, let's get really fucking hyped right here, right now. Let's do it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Level Up Cleveland. This week, we have the girls from Lilieae here with us. We have with us Lydia Puccini, first of all.
That's me.
Lead singer.
Yes.
front girl.
Well, I like to say we're dual female fronted.
Well, you guys are. You guys are. But you're not playing an instrument, so you're kind of fronting the thing, and you're playing the bass.
Yes.
Kayleigh Hyland.
Yes.
And singing.
Yes.
And you guys do a lot of harmonizing and stuff like that, too. And you guys harmonize really well together.
Thanks.
You guys are like one of the up-and-coming premier bands in this area right now. I think you guys are getting a lot of attention. And you guys played last year at the Rock Hall.
Yes, we played last year at the Rock Hall. Great show.
And this year you were supposed to play the Rock Hall.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That got rained out.
It did. It was supposed to happen on July 1st, and now we're just waiting for a rescheduled date, and hopefully this time Mother Nature agrees with us. It was just rainy, thunderstorms, not safe, high winds, so
yeah, it got crazy.
hoping for another date later this summer. So
you guys are true locals, right? You guys are from the area.
Yeah.
You guys grew up, born, everything here,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Where are you guys from?
Westlake.
Yeah, we're both from Westlake. We were just laughing earlier saying that we actually met in high school in art class. We sat next to each other.
Yeah, but we weren't friends.
No.
We just sat in the same room.
Right. Like we sat at each other's table and, talked during class.
Yeah.
But it's funny that, later down the road we ended up connecting again, and now we're thicker than thieves.
Yeah, we never would have thought.
Were you guys into music at the time? I mean, were you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys both knew that about each other?
Yes.
So that came up in conversation?
Yeah.
But it was always separate?
Yeah.
It was always like my music thing, your music thing, and then one day. So how do you guys come about making this all happen?
Well, we actually, this project originally started as an all-girl band, and one of the players that was with us originally actually connected Kayleigh and I, and eventually as the band transformed, we just kind of formed this little Lilieae bond and kept it going, so.
Is that how the name came about? How does that come about? I'm sure you've been asked that before.
Yeah, definitely, because it is kind of a strange name.
It's more of a strange spelling.
Oh,
I don't think the way if you just say Lilieae, people are like, oh, that's cool. But when you see it spelled, then it becomes like, whoa, that's way too many vowels.
I think that's one of the reasons we chose it. It is way too many vowels. We liked the way it rolled off the tongue. We thought it sounded really nice. But we found it looking up scientific names for flowers. We were looking up scientific names for a bunch of different things, like being attracted to galaxy sounding things, just very scientific, and we landed on looking up flowers, and so it's a scientific name for a lily flower.
Cool. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
very
It's a simple.
complicated.
Yeah, it's a complicated thing for a very simple thing, right?
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
and what's great too is when you look up Lilieae Band on the internet,
It's
we're the only one.
Yeah.
That's a great
so
thing.
it's a
Yeah.
good feeling knowing
Yeah.
that if somebody's trying to find us, they can.
We just have to put our spelling everywhere and the pronunciation next to the
Phonetically.
spelling.
I saw that. Yeah, I see you got it. You got the little
Lilieae.
yeah. So you guys, like, if I were to describe you guys so you guys kind of have that punk. First of all, the thing that comes out of me, you have that modern punk kind of flair that's like just always kind of going through. You always hear that, which for you is a big thing because that's a bass. That's a very bass-driven type of a music and everything. But you have that kind of groove going. But there's rock, there's metal, it's a fusion band.
Oh,
What
yeah.
it is.
Totally.
It's a fusion
Totally.
band. But there's that punk groove that I got when I was listening to it, especially like the 2000s punk. You know that kind of thing, the pop punk.
Yeah.
You guys are poppy. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
you are. Very catchy stuff, very hooky stuff, but not easy always either. It's not always real simplistic. Like some of those bands can be very easy, very predictable. You guys aren't really like that too either. You know,
Yeah.
you guys have a flair, and I think that's probably why you're doing well. All those
Yeah.
reasons.
I tend to kind of like when I'm working on something, I'm like, what would people not do next in the song? You know, I don't really like to be predictable.
They're not.
Right.
Yeah.
And too, like people always ask us, like, what genre are you? And I'm
Yeah.
like, we're rock and roll, you know, like
Yeah.
all encompassing, because there's songs like Level that sound very pop punk, and then there's a song like Siren that could be a metal song.
Yeah.
You know, so we're like, we're rock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very much so, and with a real hard edge to it, and exceptional vocals. I mean, let's just say
Thanks.
it. I think that's always what sets bands apart from other bands. Really, is the vocals. And
Yeah.
you guys have exceptional vocals.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect.
We love
I mean, really.
harmonies.
Love
Like we
harmonies.
love
Guitar harmonies, vocal harmonies. We have 3-layer harmonies.
Well, yeah. Plus, you got the double guitar,
Yeah.
dual guitar
Yeah.
thing going on, so you guys can harmonize there. You can really do like with the setup you guys have. You can do so many different things. You guys got the 2 guitars, the bass player, the singer, and the drummer, and so therefore you can do so many different things. And with a fusion band, this is what this is. Fusion band can be confusing because when you say fusion, like, well, what are you fusing? You know, with you guys, it seems like it's a lot of stuff going on. You
Yeah,
know?
because I think we all come from very strong musical backgrounds.
Yeah.
You know, we all love music.
Yeah, I noticed. We were just talking a little bit ago about your mother is with Ed Stevens, so one of the guys that was on our
Yep.
show.
Yep, I've known him for 15 years.
Eddie Stevens. We grew up with Ed and stuff. So I mean, it is a small knit. We were just talking about before we even came on. It just seems like it's a circle here in Cleveland.
Yes.
That's formed, and it's forming more and more and more. Hopefully, this show helps bring more and more people together.
Yeah, it's interesting with us too, because between Kayleigh, obviously here with us, Joe, our drummer, and Donald, one of our guitar players, all of us kind of knew each other for years. Obviously not in this project, but had met over the years or been involved with each other in some realm over the last, 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
So is that kind of how this all happened? Little by little, you guys were like, "Hey, well, let me just back it up a little bit because I do know a little bit." So you guys actually put out a EP called Level.
Yes.
We like
Yes.
that name, by the way. It was a cool name, Level. And that was before you guys assembled this band that you have now, though, right? So
Yes.
you were saying you were an all-girl band. I'm assuming,
Yeah.
was that the all-girl band at the time?
Yeah. Well, actually, we had a guitar player. She kind of had to drop out due to health reasons, unfortunately. And then we had a girl drummer, and she decided to do her own thing. So, like a month before recording, she was like, I don't want to be in the band anymore. And I was kind of like, okay, well, if you don't want to be in the band, maybe we get someone else to record drums, because I want somebody who's going to really put their all into it. And my husband is a drummer, and he offered to just record the drums on the album. And then we have a friend, Donald, who plays guitar, and we actually had him fill in on a couple of live gigs for us. And so we were like, hey, Donald, will you record guitar with us too?
We're like, you know the parts.
Yeah,
you know?
right. You already
Yeah,
know
right.
him. Just be on the album. So yeah, it was just a 4-piece thing.
So you guys like hired guns for the
Yep.
for the first one, and then you guys decided you're going to form the permanent.
Yeah, after our EP release show for Level, Donald was like, "Hey, what's next for Lilieae?" And we're like, "Yes, he's in the band."
Yeah, we were so stoked.
Yeah, we were like hoping he would decide to stay with us permanently.
And then Joe as well. And
He
Joe
did
and Donald
first,
were friends.
I think
beforehand.
Donald decided to join for real because Joe did.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was like a package.
Without Joe, I don't think Donald would have come in.
Yeah, and
So-
then we were like, we would love to have a second guitar player, and just posted, I believe, like on the Cleveland musicians page or some kind of Facebook page, and actually found Eric that way.
Oh.
Yeah.
That
So
was like a more
so
of an
he's
interview.
the only one that you actually
Audition,
like.
yeah.
right.
But he
That you
fits
didn't know.
in perfectly.
It was
It
perfect,
was like a
yeah.
perfect match.
That's amazing.
The
First
only-
one too that you're contacted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only unfortunate thing was we only got to play one show as a 5-piece before COVID hit. And it was a fantastic show
It
at the
was.
Happy Dog. And we were so happy that we could that was such a great memory to kind of take us through the pandemic. But that was the only show we played with Eric, and then boom, a month later shut down. So
Well, I was going to get into that too, but you just reminded me. I didn't actually go over the rest of the guys in the band. I want to
Yeah.
at least let everybody know who's who in the band and everything. Not here is Joe Stefano. He's the drummer.
Yep.
And Donald Pelk plays one of the guitars, and the other guitar player is Eric Kennedy,
Yes.
who you guys were just talking about.
yeah.
Now, I did notice when I was researching you guys, the timing of your releases and how that coincided with the whole COVID thing. So, didn't play in your guys' favor very well as far as the timing. You guys were just getting to go. I mean, we've heard the story a lot through the bands that have been through here. That just hit everybody, right? So,
Right.
you guys really are just getting your feet under you and
Yeah.
shut down.
Right.
But you guys stayed busy, it looks like. And,
Yes.
and it seems like that's when you guys decided to go ahead and put this thing together. And it's like, hey, it's down, but we don't have to stop. This is going to be over eventually.
Yeah.
That's when you form the band. Then you guys
Yeah.
get together. Then you make another EP.
Yes.
It's called Run, Run, Run.
So that just came out October
Yes.
of last year.
Yes.
And so you guys released this, and things were already starting to kind of like, you guys were coming out of it and everything. Did you guys have a release party for that one too?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Where was that at?
We did it at the Foundry in Lakewood
Oh.
in October, and it was so much fun. It was such a great show.
Yeah,
and we
and that-
played with a couple other local bands that were fantastic too. So all in all, the venue was great for us. We did a Lily shot, which was my favorite thing,
Yeah.
where it was like you go to the bar, and I don't even remember what it was, but they made a shot for us that
Yeah.
night, and we pressed vinyl, so we were stoked on that as
Really?
well.
Yeah.
So. New
So you
merch,
guys-
new music, new shots.
Yeah. Do they keep that shot there? Is it like something
I
you
don't
can go,
think
or is it
so.
just only when you guys played there?
Limited time only,
Yeah,
aka our release party.
Yeah. One night only.
Was that the first gig you played with the new guys, or did you guys play any gigs leading up to that?
The first gig was back at the Happy Dog right before COVID hit, but then we did play at the Foundry in June of 21, and then we played Mercury Music Lounge around that time as well. We played the Rock Hall in July of 21. So we had other shows, but definitely the October show was awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. So what's it like playing at that at the Rock Hall like that? I mean, like especially like leading up to it, like nervous. I mean, is a show like that kind of like? Are you guys in your head? Is it a big thing? Or are you guys like, man, what do we do?
I was nervous last year. I wasn't nervous this year though.
I was nervous about the weather.
Yeah, right, yeah,
less
more anxious about that.
yeah, less nervous about the weather, or more nervous about the weather than the actual show. To be honest with you guys, I work at the Rock Hall, so for me, it's kind of stressful because I'm like, oh man, not only am I playing in front of all my friends and family, I'm playing in front of my coworkers as well. So there's like a certain level of anxiety that comes along with that as well.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of the greatest ever for me because it's my worlds colliding, and I get to see everybody I love and I care about, my friends, my family, and my coworkers all in one space. Also, that stage is awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's big, and there's awesome lights, and you're outside,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's really a sweet stage.
Cool feel.
Yeah.
So let me just back it up. So how does it you guys get into music in the beginning? I mean, what starts all that? Parents usually, how does that work?
For me, my parents had a lot of mixed CDs. I used to listen to The Cure's greatest hits like every night. And I remember listening to a Cure song. I think it was Just Like Heaven, and it just was making me feel so good. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to write music too. So when I was 10, I knew that I wanted to start playing music.
And when did you actually pick up the bass?
Well, actually, not really till Lilieae.
Really?
Guitar was my first instrument.
So
I
you
learned.
You did have the guitar.
Yes,
at least.
I played guitar. I did some singing. I did some piano. So bass was really I did drums a long time ago, but
wow,
bass was like my least experienced instrument, and we couldn't find a bass player for this band. I was originally the guitar player, which is why we were going for punk.
And Kayleigh,
thank God I'm not the guitar player.
She won't brag about it, but I'll brag about it. Kayleigh actually played the guitar solo on Drain Drowned, which is off of our first EP, Level, because originally she was our guitar player.
Well, I wrote.
Yeah,
I wrote all the songs on Level.
So,
you did. Those are all your songs too. Mm-hmm. No kidding. So are you the main writer now? I mean, are you still the main writer of the band?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I start a good chunk.
So you write the music and the lyrics too, or you write the lyrics?
We both write lyrics.
Yeah, I would say it's like Kayleigh will start with an idea. Periodically, her and I will start with an idea, and then she has this good foundation, and then the rest of the band kind of like runs with it. And Kayleigh and I will start working on.
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll have lyrics. Sometimes we'll work on them together. But I would say definitely Kayleigh starts the marathon, and then the band continues the marathon.
So how do you come up with it? I mean, like, is it the old school, like I come up with a riff or I come up with a part and then it grows?
It varies. Usually I'm in bed at 1 a.m. trying to sleep, or I'm driving. There are certain like scenarios in which it all begins. Sometimes I'm just noodling, like our song "What I Said" on "Run Run Run." Actually, that one started with the bass line. I just liked this bass line, and then I started playing guitar over it, and I was like doing this little ditty, and I was like, how many times in a row can I do this without messing up? And it turned into the and then I messed it up, and then that became the actual riff. So that was a happy accident. That's that one.
I think there's been a couple.
Oh my gosh, so many happy accidents. But also, like, sometimes I'll just have like a little hook, like a melody hook. Like for What I Said, I just kind of heard in my head, I said, that's what I said. And I was like, I can picture us doing something with that. So it starts with sometimes just 3 notes, like take me home, take me home.
Sometimes it starts with an idea, too.
Just an idea, a concept, too.
A concept.
Like I had a 3-note hook for Take Me Home, and then we were like, what kind of 3 words could we put there? And Lydia was like, I really like Take Me Home. We're like, okay, how can we write around this concept? And then we just sat down and, took from our personal experiences and put them together.
So what about the guys? How do they offer any as far as the writing part goes? Are you guys like no men in the writing process?
Actually, our song Siren, Donald brought that riff. So that song was a lot of Donald. So he wrote all the guitar riffs for that song. Yeah. But other than that, like we do the basis. I'll come up with the ideas. I'll start doing some chords, and then we get together and refine some lyrics and melodies, and then present it to the men.
And then
but then sometimes, like we do. They add so much, and then we also like some things are unfinished, and we all pool our ideas together and then refine them.
Right. I always laugh, too, when you can tell a song Kayleigh and I worked on together, because it's like me complaining in the first verse and then Kayleigh complaining about something in the second verse. I think Burn the Witch and Take Me Home.
Oh, yeah. There's kind of some sarcasm.
Yeah. That's like our overlying theme.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Burn the Witch is a really cool song. Yeah. I was just listening to that last night, and that's a very cool song.
Actually,
the lyrics are actually really cool in it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like them.
That main riff, that was actually Joe's, the drummer. He came up with that riff.
The drummer came up with the riff.
Can you tell? Because the snare is like...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that was his.
Oh, yeah, that's even a cool part.
Yeah.
I don't think, that song has got the weird... That's the song that I was saying when I was listening to it. I was like, wow, they're not that simple. There's a lot of stuff going on in here that's not just typical 4/4 type.
That came... Like, we didn't mean to make that in, what was it, like 6/8? 6/4?
It's a weird time.
6/4. We were trying to work in all these lyrics we were writing down. So we sit down, we have these lines that we like, and we're like trying to like time them out, and then Lydia did something that kind of worked, and I was like, record that. So we did that, and I was like, oh my God, you're singing that in 6. And we're like, cool, let's keep that
Yeah.
going. And that just seemed to be the thing that worked with our words.
That song I remember us working backwards on
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
which I really thought was interesting because normally I don't know, like a chorus comes to your brain or a verse or something, and we like had a verse but almost worked it into the music backwards.
Well, I had the hook, the da 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 da, the Burn the Witch. And then I had like this pre-chorus idea, like wanted something fast going. So we kind of started with the chorus, and then we went with the I can see it in their eyes. I knew I wanted that to be the line before the chorus, and then we reverse engineered it in the verse before that. So
We're
that
complicated.
that was very backwards.
Yeah, well, I was impressed. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. Like I said, when the first thing I heard, when you're doing this stuff, you're going to have so much time, so you try to get an opinion about this really quick. And to be honest, the very first thing I thought of was Avril Lavigne. Right off the bat.
Awesome.
Right off the bat, the very first thing I thought of was her. And then as I listened, I was like, no.
Yeah.
It is like maybe for a second, maybe because you have a female voice, and it's rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's almost really, all it is once you start listening, it's like, no, this is complex stuff. These guys know what they're doing. These guys are good. They're
Yeah.
great singers.
And
Thanks.
the boys help with that. I mean, the boys are
Totally.
so talented.
We're
Yeah.
like
They're
we
professionals.
Like cook the food and they like put all the seasoning
Sprinkles.
on it.
They-
Yeah.
And like, help glue it together. And,
Well, and to be honest, I mean, just to say, like, if you have two females who can play music and sing like you guys can, I'm sure there's 100 musicians out there dying to get into this band if they could. Because honestly, I mean, this is what you think, this is what you want to be in. This is a great band you guys got going on. I can't see you guys not taking this as far as you want. That's how I look at it.
yeah, that's
I
what we're
can't.
aiming for.
And
can't see it.
It honestly really helps too that like the 5 of us are like best friends too.
Yeah,
We're so tight,
That's going to help.
Yeah, and I think we all just have a perfect strength that all 5 of us bring together and just make the whole thing work.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break right there. We'll be back in a little bit with the girls from Lilieae.
Hello, Cleveland. It's your boy ZM Delgado, author of the Rust Belt Rock Review at SaccoLantern.com, and I am here to give you your weekend underground heavy metal update. Up first, August 19th at the Foundry Concert Club, we have a benefit for WomenHaveOptions.org featuring GRVE, Between Home and Serenity, Unity, and a special guest performer yet to be announced. Who knows who it could be? Probably Metallica. Anyways, August 19th at the Grog Shop this time, we're going to see Beast Killer do their album release party with support from Fox, Death Weapons, and the Black Island Condors. Saturday, August 20th at the Foundry, you're going to see Lone Wolf with support from Erase, Dead Cassette, Timmy Taylor, and Katongas. So there it is, Cleveland, your weekend heavy metal update. I hope to catch you out at the clubs, and I hope you're there to raise your horns in support of our underground metal scene. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for reading. Back to you, Brian.
We're back with the girls from Lilieae, Lydia, Kayleigh. So we were just talking about the band and basically how it started and the EPs that have been out and everything. But you guys actually were telling me you played a gig in down in the Flats
Yeah. In February.
called Bright Winter.
Yes.
And this is a festival that goes on down the Flats, and you guys played outside.
Yeah, it's an all-day festival. It's art, music, all different genres of bands, which is great. Colony House, which is like a more national group, was the headliner. We played around 9 p.m. And like we said, February in Cleveland, so all of us were wearing like 3 layers of clothes. But
I had like 4.
yeah, right. You're a freeze baby though.
I'm
you know.
always cold. Yeah.
Yeah, but
But when you get that energy and you're up on stage and you see all those people, you get warm from like the adrenaline
yeah.
and the
No
running
kidding.
around and
Oh,
jumping.
I was not cold.
Yeah.
When we were playing. No.
Neither
Fingers,
was I.
nothing, huh? Like.
My fingers were so surprisingly okay. I couldn't believe it. I thought that everything was going to be so bad because of my fingers, and I played fine.
Did everybody agree? I mean, that's tough to do. I mean, it's hard to play guitar in the cold.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the boys thought, but my fingers were somehow not cold.
How about your voice?
Yeah. I
Hold
mean,
up.
honestly, it was fine because once we got out there and saw all of these people who were out in the cold weather with us.
Yeah.
You know, like we were in it together.
Yeah.
And the energy was just electric. And everybody who was jumping down in the audience made me want to jump. And once I started jumping, then my body started to warm up. Plus, I was wearing a jumpsuit. And underneath, of course, I had, like long johns and Under Armour and all of that. Bright Winter also provides the band's hats. So all of us had our Bright Winter hats on. So we kept warm. Yeah.
Difficult though? I mean, was it? I mean, not at all, huh? You guys were just basically like another gig once you fired up the.
Yeah, the only tough part I think was being there and it's so cold and maybe like loading in, bringing your gear.
What about anticipation or something like that? Thinking about like, I mean, I lived here my whole life too. February can be absolutely brutal.
Oh yeah,
it was snowy.
Definitely
too.
worrying about that before.
Well, were they prepared for like what if it's 10 degrees?
So
you know what I mean? 5 degrees.
True. Right. That's true. I don't know if it would happen if it was below freezing.
Yeah.
However, it did snow a lot the night before. So those amazing volunteers and people who work for Bright Winter were out there clearing snow the morning of the event. But like I said, and also alcohol helps.
Oh yeah.
You got a couple drinks in you. You're a little bit warmer. That's true, right?
Yep, it worked for me.
It generally works for us. So we've been doing that recently where, a band from Detroit will come play here with us and then we'll go up and play in Detroit. And then we'll play with a band from Columbus and then we'll go down to Columbus to play with them. It's a great way to network, but it's also a great way to play new cities. And then it's equal, like we play with them in Detroit. They'll come down here to play with us. Same with Columbus. So we're currently branching out to these neighbor sister markets like Pittsburgh. We'd love to play Chicago, but we're on our way with Detroit and Columbus. Those are our first two big out of state or 2 hours away.
Yeah.
We played in
but
Akron.
still, I mean, it's branching out, right?
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
So I can see you guys though. I think you guys are good enough, at least, where I can see a national act picking you guys up on a national tour as an opening act.
Yeah, I mean, we would love that.
I've
I mean, that's a
daydreamt.
compliment. That's a compliment, but it's also a real scenario I could see playing out. Are you guys ready for that?
It would be awesome. We did get the opportunity to open for the Dolly Rots in March at the Beachland, and it was awesome just getting to play with the band, on that level. Because generally, and it's no offense to any of our local friends, it's like generally we play local shows.
Yeah.
So it's great to, I would love to obviously tour, but it's also great to have those opportunities where we get to play with a band like the Dolly Rots and get to see all their fans and meet all their fans in Cleveland and, get to experience that here too. But yeah, a tour would be great.
Yeah, I mean, so you guys are planning for that if it comes out. You guys, well, the reason I asked that is because it's a whole, that's the next level. Like you got your job. You have a life that you've kind of made for yourself here outside from the band and everything else that you got to just be like, it's all on hold for a while because this now becomes my life, I'm going on the road with this band and that's good. And obviously it's not the world we used to live in where it's a 3-year tour or a 2-year tour, but you could be gone for months, right?
Yeah.
You guys ready for that?
I mean, I have so much vacation time banked up out here. I'm not even kidding. I've worked there for 7 years. I have so much.
Cool.
So I'd be super ready. I mean, obviously, I'd hope that more bands would pick us up, but
I can see it happening. I really can.
It'd
You
be
guys,
so fun.
Well, you guys are just kind of starting out right now because of the pandemic. It's
Right.
this is
Yeah,
like
right.
It's like a start over. You
For
you guys.
real.
Yeah. So you're not out there yet.
Right.
Yeah, we're,
But-
making our way.
But what's like I said, I'm watching you guys and I'm going, what's going to stop this band? Really,
I think-
except for themselves.
Right. I think the pandemic actually was in our favor a little bit because we were able to take a step back and assess how we want the band's future to go. Solidify members, get we LLC'd ourselves. We wrote some new music. We practiced with shower curtains and masks on. We did it all, but we kind of were able to think of exactly where we want this band to go and kind of figure out a plan and a schedule.
Yeah, it was a lot of time to plan, and we love planning.
Well, that's cool. And so you guys are very independent. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
So my concern would be somebody's going to try to come into you guys' situation and try to be like, hey, I can better you and I can take you places.
We're smarter than that.
Are you guys?
Because I feel like that's kind of everyone's dream, get picked up. But I'm like, I kind of like the way we function.
It's a different world.
Now.
That's the old world.
I feel like I like what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, since we're LLC'd, we're technically like our own label.
Absolutely.
So when we sign a contract with somebody, we get to collect everything and disperse it and use it how we want to use it. So we do operate like as an LLC, as a partnership.
Cool.
So
you can't get somebody to come in there and spoil things, mess things up that you guys have already all got it
right
the way you want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's going to continue to be that way.
Right. Unless somebody like Jimmy Iovine or something wants to pick us up, sure. But
somebody that's ridiculous. Like,
right.
But that's cool. That's cool. So you guys are very independent. So who does, as far as like booking gigs and so who does it, both? Who's really in charge of that part of that whole thing?
I think Lydia is that's mostly Lydia. She does a lot of the communications.
Yeah.
I see.
And the reaching out. Yeah.
And also, the nice thing about this band is we do get asked to do gigs, which is awesome too. But we like to play at least once a month in the Cleveland area. Like I said, we've opened for national bands. We've played just local shows. We do play around here a lot, but we've had a lot of good opportunities, and luckily we've got to play at most venues around town and love it.
What about are you guys picky about that kind of thing? Do you ever get asked to do a gig, then you're like, I don't know about that one.
A lot of times our schedule is what prohibits us from doing some things. We also though like to plan shows ourselves as well. We're like, all right, we're gonna put something together at the beginning of May for the Happy Dog, and we want to play with the Public Squares and we want to play with Twin Atomic, so we put it together. So when we are asked to do things, generally it's a schedule thing because there is 5 of us. But a lot of times we like to put stuff together too. We love local bands. I listen to local bands all the time, so I genuinely enjoy putting shows together.
One thing I'm thinking about right now talking to you is that we always have this conversation on the show, and it's even when you're in a band, everyone does, about how hard it is to keep a band together. Right?
Totally.
Because of personalities and stuff like that, right? And usually in rock and roll, it's guys, which is a bizarre dynamic when you have 5 male personalities or 4 male personalities trying to make it all work together, right? So I find this has got to be a different dynamic going on here a little bit. But you guys don't seem, I will say this about you two. You don't seem like the typical girls' personalities as far as what girls could bring to a band. You guys seem to have it very well. You guys seem to have your heads on very, you guys know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
It just feels that way. Yeah. Would you agree with that?
We founded the band,
Yeah.
We're the mothers.
Yes.
We nurture this band.
We do. They call us the band moms.
Yeah.
The guys do.
Yeah. We are the band
like
moms.
soccer moms, but you're band moms.
But you know what? They kind of love it though, because we're like, hey, you free this day? And they're like, yeah. We're like, all right, we're going to put a show together.
Yeah.
It works out really well. And it's kind of funny. When Kayleigh and I met, we're so alike in so ways, and we're so opposite in other ways, but the opposites are they fit like a puzzle piece together.
Heck yeah.
We're just such a great team. It's crazy.
Yeah, our strengths, maybe some of my weaknesses are Kayleigh's strengths, and some of her weaknesses are my strengths.
And you recognize that.
Oh yeah.
And I think we recognized that immediately when the band even formed with our original lineup. I think her and I were just immediate. A great match for as far as being friends, but also working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just our skills.
Well, and let's be honest, 2 girls can be it could be a real tough situation, but you guys seem to have it figured out. You guys, seriously, you can't be that way,
Yeah.
It can be that way with anybody.
Yeah, we're
personalities are
adults.
very hard. Yeah, but you guys, that's the one thing that makes this always work is giving up ego, giving up, knowing what your limitations are and allowing the other person to take that and then that's how the whole band fills itself out. and that's how you guys become what you are. You guys
And
are great.
It's not
Thank
like
you.
me. You know, it's mostly like we all have the same end goal of being successful with the band, and I think we all understand, like, you know, what we have to do to get to that point, and if that means, you know, giving up an idea or having an idea, you know, we just know that we're a pretty well-oiled machine. You know?
Right.
And we,
A lot of trust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we also have 5 members, which is great because we vote on something.
Yes, I love
it's a
that. I
it's an
love
odd,
that.
nice
Yeah.
odd number.
Exactly. When
It's
we were a
perfect.
4-piece, we were like, this is tough.
Yeah,
Because-
now we just do majority rules.
Majority
and it
rules.
fixes everything.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then, and the 2 losers are good always about being like,
Yeah,
They have to.
I'll
gotta
win my
just
battle
take,
next
You just
time.
gotta take it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, you kind of have to be. You
Well,
know?
you guys seem like to me, and that like again, and I didn't know this at the time. But you guys have all the intangibles, all the stuff that destroys bands. You guys seem to have figured that out and been like, we don't want no part of that.
Well,
We're
I'm
just-
married to the drummer, so
Well, that helps. And I guess it helps.
I mean,
yeah.
like, it's a relationship. You know, that was weird to figure out at first too. Being in
Yeah.
a relationship with someone in your band. That
because you
was-
could bring stuff to the band from home sometimes. No, could that happen? Like
Oh, we did. Yeah,
I mean, I've been married.
with Burn the
I've-
Witch. We worked on Burn the Witch on New Year's Eve a few years ago. Whenever we wrote it. Yeah.
And the funny thing is we practice at their house too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like
Oh.
our home base as a band. But
Yeah.
the drummer's house is usually a good place to practice.
I mean,
Yeah.
who wants to
Yeah,
cart
yeah.
drums across town every time you practice? And we don't
Right.
practice generally till like 9:30 or 10 o'clock at
Yeah.
night. So
Really?
no one be
Yeah,
dragging drums
um,
that late.
Joe and Donald are music teachers at School of Rock.
Oh,
Yeah, so their hours go pretty late because it's an afternoon job.
but you guys have really good neighbors.
Yeah, well, one of the neighbors is really old. Her daughter told me that her mom doesn't hear very well, so it's fine. And then our other neighbors, we have like a shared driveway, so they're kind of like 2 houses over, really. Yeah.
Just
So-
a lot
and
far
they-
enough away.
They're old too. So
And Joe uses an electronic kit
Yeah.
at the
Oh,
house.
so you guys can control volume.
Yeah, so we can completely
I keep
control
telling
the
him
volume.
he could totally. I think he could use a regular.
I think
kit,
he could too,
but he won't.
It's funny because the second one of them gets louder, the other one gets louder, and then the other one gets louder, and then all of a sudden it's much louder than
We're
it
always
was
telling-
originally.
Well, that's
We're always telling the guitar players.
I know.
constant.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that is that with an acoustic set, you're as loud as the set.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't, you know, volume can never be adjusted when you have
Right.
that acoustic set. With those electronic sets, you can set the drums and then everything else just gets
Yep.
set and you can be as loud or as quiet as you want. You could be the loudest one in the band just without a microphone. If,
Yeah.
when you have, I mean, it's cool. It is. It's people don't practice like that,
Yeah.
but why not?
Right,
we
right.
we played at Larchmere Porch Fest here in Cleveland in June, and it was funny. We brought the whole setup because you're playing on somebody's front
Yeah.
porch.
Our whole PA. Of
Our whole PA
everything, yeah.
we brought, but it was awesome that, you know, we're so used to using it because we just ended up bringing it to the gig and setting it all up. But it kind of felt like practice.
Yeah.
Because we brought everything, but that was a really awesome, amazing festival, but also experience. I've never played on someone's front porch before.
No.
What was that? Well, so what did they do? It's just somebody's house, and
Yeah.
then they have a festival at a house, and then
Yeah, it's a festival in Larchmere, and a couple different houses let bands play on their porches at different times.
It's an all-day thing, so it's like several blocks of Larchmere, and like every block has a house on it or 2 houses on it that have a band on it. So what they do is they've got like probably 20, I think it was 26, 25 bands or so,
Holy
and at all different
Yeah.
times of the day. You know, there might be 3 bands at 4:30, but they're not on the same street, so you'll never hear the overlap. But it's awesome because you're rocking out on someone's front porch,
and then do these crowds like migrate to the
Yeah.
different
They
houses
do.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
it's kind of like a music festival at someone's house.
It's really cool.
It was
idea.
really fun,
I
but
didn't even heard of that. That's a really cool idea.
yeah, I think they do a Larchmere Porch Fest here in Cleveland, and that's obviously on the east side by Larchmere, but then they do Porch Rocker down in Akron as well, and they do the same porch thing down there too. So
We need
it's
a West
fun.
Side. We need a West Side
Yeah.
porch show.
That'd be something
Porch
really
show.
good, I think, for Lakewood. I think Lakewood could pull
Yeah.
that off.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah. Heck yeah. Well,
Some of those
Lakewood's-
houses on Arthur that have those nice big porches.
Heck yeah.
I'd love to rock
Lakewood's
that.
got such a huge music scene.
Oh,
It's
totally.
Always always has been one of the forefronts of the music scene. The bars, everything.
Oh yeah, we play in Lakewood pretty regularly, like Mahal's and the
Yeah.
Foundry, and our first show ever was at the Symposium.
Yeah.
Way back, like when we didn't even have the guys in the band.
Yeah.
So there's like a little piece of me when I'm driving around downtown and I pass where Stella's was.
Oh, yeah.
And we had our EP release show there for our first EP, and like a little piece of my heart just kind of hurts when I pass it because I'm like, oh man, like,
Yeah.
that was such a great memory for us all playing like that first EP release show, and it's always a bummer when a venue shuts down. I mean, it's a bummer when any kind of like nice local business shuts down,
Yeah.
So.
What do you guys see as far as the future, as far as writing and stuff? Do you guys see any kind of changes taking places? And like, do you guys? I mean, like, we're getting older, right? As you get older, I know me. As I got older, I started liking different bands. I started liking different music, and things just changed. Do you see anything like that? Influences that have come recently that you could be like, I could see it turning a different way.
I'm not sure. I think the only thing that I've thought about recently is now that we are a 5-piece, anything we write from here on out is going to probably be pretty much more collaborative. Because even the last EP, a lot of it was written except for a couple songs.
It's true.
Yeah, Lydia and I had already done.
I always forget
few of
about
them.
that because, we did a 4-song EP the first time around, but some songs that weren't on that EP were already done
Written,
and actually
yeah.
ended up on the second EP.
Yeah.
So there were some songs that were collective between the 5 of us, but the next piece of, I guess, the next EP or the next single or the next album that we put out will probably be like a fully kind of more collective thing, I suppose.
I also like to think about how do we kind of keep a Lilieae sound.
So
You
you
know?
do. So you do have like a thing in your head that you're
Yeah.
like, we're supposed to sound like this.
I don't know what we're supposed to sound like, but I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Angsty, sarcastic, rock and
Yeah,
roll.
Yeah, definitely cool.
I'm like, yeah,
Like-
is there an underlying thing sound
Right.
that I think maybe I'm just naturally personally attracted to certain types of
Yeah.
ways. Like I have my favorite bands who I would consider my influences, and then I think about them sometimes when I'm writing.
Do you? Or do you just think this comes right out of you, like just because naturally?
It's both.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Like I could be starting something and then I'll be like, what would the Pixies do at this point in the song?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the magic of Lilieae, that none of us have the exact same music taste.
Right.
So since we all love rock and roll, but like love different kinds of rock and roll, it's like what works for us, you know?
It's like a melting pot of
Right.
rock.
Like Donald loves funk, but it's amazing to have his input on these things. Like everybody has something. Like I really love punk, and Kayleigh really loves Black Sabbath. Like we have all of these
Yeah.
pieces collectively rock and roll that I think really rounds out our sound, but still has the Lilieae.
Yeah, so
You know?
maybe that'll come out even more as we continue to write, since it'll be more of 5 people writing. Like Lydia and I still do what we do, like our foundations and stuff, but everything is much more from scratch at this point on.
Cool. All right. Well, we're gonna be looking out for the next one, the next single, next EP, whatever it becomes.
Yeah, whatever it is.
And we're out of time.
Okay.
Hey, well, thanks for having
been
us.
great.
Thanks
This
for
was
coming
so
down.
awesome.
I appreciate it.
Thank
Really.
you
so
Last
much.
minute kind of too. You guys just came in here.
Yeah,
Perfect.
It was
It was
great.
awesome. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Meant to
Love
be.
it.
All right, guys. Keep your eye out for Lilieae. They're gonna be. I think they're gonna be. You're gonna see a lot of them. I do believe. All right. That's it from us from Level Up Cleveland. See you next week.
That'll be fine.